Hello there, you've just caught me reading Doctor Who, The Writer's Tale, the untold story of the BBC series by Russell T Davies and Benjamin Cook, which is quite pertinent to today's video because of the Doctor Who news, the Doctor Who's. That's terrible, might cut that, probably leave it in. So today a statement went up on the Doctor Who .tv website. Link probably down below. If not, it'll be easy to find. Just type Doctor Who into Google and it'll probably come up. The statement reads, today we're announcing an update on plans for the future of Doctor Who. As part of securing the next phase of the show for future generations and in line with the BBC's charter and agreement requirements, the BBC will put Doctor Who out to competitive tender this year. They're basically looking for somebody else to make the series. Doctor Who remains an important part of the BBC, and this tender underpins the BBC's continued commitment to Doctor Who, ensuring the audiences will enjoy the show for years to come. After careful consideration, the BBC, Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf have collectively decided not to go ahead with the previously announced Doctor Who Christmas episode. This decision was not taken lightly, and we know it will be disappointing for fans, but in order to set the show up for future series, it was decided that rather than bridge the gap with a one-off special, we are choosing to push forward to invest in the long-term future of the show, which ensures that when the TARDIS lands once more, it does so in all its glory. The previously announced new Doctor Who animation series for CBeebies is currently in production. Details of the tender will be announced in due course. The BBC retains all IP in Doctor Who. BBC Studios will continue to lead the global distribution of Doctor Who, as well as licensing, consumer products, digital and immersive experiences on behalf of the BBC. So there you go, the whole statement. They've put Doctor Who on hiatus. Hiatus, I tell you, it's taking a break. Russell T Davies issued a statement. He said, "And so, goodbye from me to Doctor Who, but hello to the big new future for the show, as the BBC announces it's putting the show out to tender. As a result, there won't be a Christmas special. We only cooked that up to guarantee a future when no one knew what would happen, but now we do. There's no need for it. You'll have to wait a bit longer for new Doctor Who, but you'll be waiting for more Doctor Who than a one-off, so it's worth it. For the record, there was no script, I never wrote it, and no actor was ever approached to play the next Doctor. You may disagree, fine, sit in that chair and wait to be proved wrong. You'll wait a long time." 3 N's for long there. "Now I'm as excited as anyone to see what comes next. Will they keep the theme tune? Will they lose the blue box? Will they bring back the Dravin? It's all up for grabs, which is so Doctor Who, exciting and unpredictable and new. Here comes the future, Vorp, Vorp." The last episode of Doctor Who ended with the Doctor regenerating and appearing on screen into Billie Piper. Wasn't explicitly said that it was Rose Tyler in some type of Doctor Who thing, but the actress Billie Piper. And then the credits played. And now we learn that that whole big thing was cooked up because there was no guarantee what was going to happen, so they wrote it not knowing whether or not there would be a payoff, apart from the supposed Christmas special, which isn't going to happen. And there was no script, didn't write it, no actor was ever approached to play the next Doctor. Well, there we go. This isn't the first time Doctor Who's been put on hiatus. This isn't taking a break. This isn't cancelled. This isn't the first time we've seen the end of Doctor Who. Previously, after Sylvester McCoy's run comes to an end, then the series wasn't renewed. That was back in the 1980s. I can give you a year, I think, 1989. survival ends with the Doctor and Ace walking off away from the camera, and the Doctor's talking about things. And there was, I mean, the Sixth Doctor was removed from the role back in '86, I think that was, yeah, possibly. Then, obviously, I mean, for a lot of modern fans in particular, they'll remember the series when it came back in 2005? So it's had quite a decent run. It's had a 21-year run. I mean, it's not been 21 consecutive years, but it's had a decent run. Russell T Davies brought it back in to BBC. You know, Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor, huge casting role, regenerated into David Tennant, and that sent the series, you know, skyrocketing. Everybody loved David Tennant. Regenerated into, yeah, you know, obviously, what's his name? Russell T Davies would part ways with the series, we would then get a new era of showrunner. Again, Doctor Who fans, that's been the thread through all of these. It's been Doctor Who fans all the way through. But do I have fond memories of the series of the last 21 years? Broadly, there's been a lot of good stuff. I think one of the things that soured it for me is that for a lot of the drama there was too much silliness, which didn't need to be there. I get that it's a family show and you have to appeal to, you know, like a broad audience, but to go from 1 minute of drama to another minute of on occasionally pantomime comedy always jarred with me. But and you know, there were various stories where I thought it would have been nice if that was a bit longer. I'm not talking 12-part stories, you know, but you know, there were a few stories of the last 21 years where I thought it would have been nice to see more of that. And then I look back at the last two series, the Disney era, and I think there were bits of that really, really interested me. I mean, I watched the last series very, very late for no other reason than I just couldn't be bothered to watch it. And I only really watched it because of the Sutek thing. You know, I remember reading stories about they were bringing back an old villain, and it was going to be one of the Pantheon or whatever he was, and Sutek was revealed. Or was that the series before? That was the series before, actually, wasn't it? That was the end of series. That was the end of the first series, surely. Yes, it was. Yeah. No, was it? You see, I think that's it for me as well. That thinking about that now, the last two series have really rolled into one for me. I think it was just the way that I watched it. I think I binge watched most of the last two series. So, it was a mega at the last year. Yeah, it was. There you go. You see, again, I think this was an issue that I had. There were too many gods. Being dealt with. There was, you know, there was a Sutek, there was a Mega, there was the little animated character, there was Maestro, there was the Celestial Toymaker. It's like, Christ on a bike, how many of these are you rolling out? Gosh! And despite the fact I liked a lot of the performances, Spice Up Your Life aside, I just felt they were trying to go too big, and part of it I understand. There's a thing that runs a thread. There's a thread that runs through a number of comic book movies, and that is world-ending threats. So whether it be, you know, like your Thanos or the Thing from the first Suicide Squad movie, or you know, it's something that's going to destroy the world. I've given you 2 examples there. I think it was the first Suicide Squad movie. I actually can't remember that movie that well. But, you know, the idea of a world-ending threat, an all-consuming world-ending threat that somebody has to defeat. And it's a trope of films of you know, these action blockbusters on a global scale type things that's been around for a long time. But to see it on TV as frequently as it was, I just feel it all merged into one for me in the end, and that's my memory of the last 2 years of Doctor Who. I'm not saying that they were all bad. There were some episodes that were absolutely cracking. You know, I loved 83 Yards. I loved 83 Yards. I didn't mind the last 2, the you know, the 7th and 8th episode of the final season, the Reality War, and the one before the Reality War, Wish World. I didn't mind the story in the engine. Sorry, 83 yards. It's 73 yards. I'm adding 10 yards to the story now. Boom was an interesting concept. Stephen Moffat wrote the script for that one. Dot and Bubble. I quite liked that one. I remember at the time saying of Dot and Bubble that I could actually see that being a Colin Baker era story. You know. But then, you know, I mean, I didn't enjoy Space Babies. I didn't particularly enjoy Rogue. I didn't enjoy this Interstellar Song Contest. There was a lot that I didn't enjoy. So am I disappointed that Doctor Who has been put on hiatus? Like I say, we've seen this before. There are other methods, there are other things I can do with Doctor Who. Even now, if I'm going to watch an old Doctor Who, and I'll be honest with you, I only have as far as Peter Capaldi on Blu-ray. If I'm going to watch an old Doctor Who, chances are, if I go over to my shelf now and think, what shall I watch? It's going to be Sylvester McCoy. It's going to be the Gothic era of Tom Baker. Those are my go-tos. Particularly Sylvester McCoy. If I listen to an audio adventure now, one of the Big Finish audio adventures, chances are I'm going to pull out again a Sylvester McCoy. I've been listening to the Paul McGann stuff recently. Am I going to continue to be invested in Doctor Who? Absolutely. I mean, I have so many Doctor Who books, it's ridiculous, and I'll continue to pick them up if I see them, and I already don't have them. Recently I posted on my main Instagram that I don't have that many Doctor Who trade paperback / graphic novel things. It's true, I only have maybe 2 or 3 of them, so that might be something to get into in the future. Panini knock out the collected editions every on a regular basis. I might go down that route. I've got a lot of Doctor Who books. You know, I've got the Virgin books. I've got the BBC books, the paperbacks with the classic 7th and 8th Doctor and all that type of thing in it. Got some of the Big Finish books. Got some of the Short Trips anthologies. There's always those. And I've got a number of because I really, really liked them, the hardback prints of the BBC of the modern series BBC Doctors, because I quite like the fact that the hardback and the original up to David Tennant's era were small. They were about the size of a paperback, but in hardback. I quite liked that. A mass market paperback, not one of the more modern, bigger paperbacks. But there you go. Yeah, so again, Doctor Who has come to an end. It's been put on hiatus again. It'll be interesting to see who picks it up. I mean, Disney obviously put money into it to get the special effects to where they were. And I have this horrible feeling that whoever picks it up again, they're going to be judged on the quality of the special effects. What I would like is a less over-the-top Doctor Who when it comes to storytelling, I think. I would like to go back to the type of storytelling we saw with Sylvester McCoy, especially under Andrew Cartmell's tenure, where there was a lot more mystery to the character of the Doctor, where he was a bit manipulative, you know, like he didn't tell people exactly what was going on or why, but he always knew. I quite like that. I would love to see to see that. As for the future, it would be good to see Big Finish do more with the modern Doctors. Be nice if they could get them all on board. Imagine that crossover. Because, you know, it'd be a good thing. But anyway, that's all for this video. I suppose for this era of Doctor Who, you could say it's the final chapter. Oh, that's right. I have the hardback, the original release of the Writer's Tale in hardback, and the final chapter, which takes us right to the end. It takes Russell T Davies's diary, I guess it is, right up to the end of David Tennant's era, before he came back in the specials. Thanks for watching. If I've made any mistakes on the timeline of the Modern Doctor Who series, especially over the past few years, don't worry about it. I don't. I can barely remember the past couple of years. All rolled into one for me. Up until just taking a quick look at my notes on my screen, I'd forgotten that it was two separate series. I just thought it was one big giant series. But there you go. That's how my memory works at the moment. Oh yeah, there they are again. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe. And I'll probably do a follow-up to this if there's any more Doctor Who news, because why not? I do like the series, really. Most of the classic ones. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you all again later. Bye for now.